Hey guys, Skippy-Doo here, coming to you again with another build guide video. I apologize for the poor sound quality. I'm using a Bluetooth headset that is absolutely terrible, but gonna bear it. I think it'll be worth it. Anyhow, I wanted to show you guys my Lacerate cast-on crit build named Pretty-Critty-Bang-Bang. So the basic idea behind this build is I started out building a Shadow Lacerate character because I saw the skill and thought it looked interesting, and wanted to test it out. And as I got further and further into the ability, I started out with just a fizz damage Lacerate build. I just noticed that the idea behind it was great, but like I felt Reeve did everything it did, but better. And Val Reeve just gave it so much AOE, gave Reeve so much AOE that it just cleared faster and better. So I was like, well, what can I do with this? So I thought to go with cast on crit, and I tried the Macros CoC build, I want to say several leagues ago, and I really enjoyed it, but I always felt it lacked in terms of damage to single targets. If I just was hitting one target at a time, it just suffered so terribly. So, you know, I thought, well, let's try Lacerate out. It swings twice, does good stuff. So I tried it out, and I was just absolutely blown away with the results. Loving every minute of it, and wrecking machines like crazy. So real quick, we'll just go through gear and links real quick. The number one necessity for this build is a Vaughan dagger, or sorry, a Vaughan sword, one-handed sword, which could use daggers. Because Lacerate requires either a sword or an axe, and axes are absolutely terrible, but swords are actually pretty fantastic. This one I bought for 1 chaos, and I alked it, or regaled it. Added the added fire damage, which was not desired, but it was fine, and then I just crafted on attack speed. So basically with these, you're just looking for a Vaughan dagger with crit strike chance 7.44 and up if you can, and then attack speed. More attack speed, the better. And the more crit multiplier, I believe certain ones come with a 50% increased global critical strike multiplier. That would be preferred, but I just really haven't taken the time to invest in upgrading this because I really haven't felt the need. The next big item is the Carcass Jack. This chest piece is amazing, just gives life resist and a ton of AoE and AoE damage, which scales off of our build. We are all AoE. Again, this is a luxury chest piece. I was fortunate enough to save up and buy it, and then got lucky and 6-linked it. But for the longest time, up until like level 82, 83, I was running with a Tabula Rasa. Totally works the same with that. I'm going to show you guys a little bit of Tabula Rasa play in a little bit. But basically the biggest thing is just it increases AoE and gives you more life. And evasion, since we are evasion based. Helmet, just high life, high res, as high evasion as you can afford. Helmet, this one didn't cost me much. My shield, I used just a rare shield with life and resist and evasion. Again, get as good as you can afford. Boots, I found these, but these are pretty darn good. Just movement speed's great. Even though we're whirling blades around a lot, there's times that we are moving on foot, and that 30% increased movement speed definitely comes in handy. But yeah, just life. I got armor evasion. I would choose armor evasion on this, on your boots for sure, because boots usually don't roll very high on the evasion chance, and we want something that we can roll the 4 red sockets. If you get all evasion gear, rolling 4 red sockets is just going to cost you a ton of chromatics. So I got these guys, and it just kind of works out. So it's armor evasion's easier to roll 4 reds, and it gives me a little extra boost to evasion. Gloves, I go with the Malagueros. Attack speed, crit chance, and crit multi. Fantastic. A little bit of evasion stacked on there. And yeah, pretty cheap right now in this league. And then our belts is just a rustic sash with strength. It's very important to strength. We're very strength dependent on gear. Life and 2 higher rolls of resist. Our diamond rings is what we use. Attack speed, life, crit, and mana. As much mana as we can stack on it. Again, these are, I think I found both of these rings. I don't even think I bought them, but they're not great, but they function for this build. Just stacking up strength, life, and resist that we need, and then mana crafted onto it. Same with our amulet. I did buy this amulet for, I want to say like less than 10 chaos, but just I loaned it for the life, and the resist to cap out my resist, and then also I got the added bonus a little more attack damage, leeches of mana, and the global critical strike chance. So again, another good. I was looking for strength and life and resist, and the other things are just kind of bonuses. Flasks, I right now just have a Divine Life Flask. Haven't even done anything with it yet. It's just there to kind of sustain as we whirling blades around. Since we're Evolved Pact and we're using blood magic to cast this, we lose a little bit of life, so just having a life flask can help keep that up if you're whirling blades through a map, get your life back up. A Serious Promise, absolutely hands down the best flask, gives more damage, and that 2% chaos damage leeches life is just super nice to help sustain. Quicksilver Flask, Immunity to Freeze. Silver Flask is another hugely important flask for this build. It gives us an amazing amount of attack and movement speed via Onslaught, and then I just crafted on bleed removal and the Surgeon's mod. And then this Fly Flask I just haven't gotten rid of yet, because that's where my Taste of Hate will hopefully someday go. So yeah, last but not least, let's just look. So Blood Magic, Whirling Blades, Faster Attacks, Val Haste, Ancestral Protector, and Herald of Thunder. So we run Haste Aura. You could run Grace if you were less concerned with DPS and more concerned with survivability. I find that I like to dodge things, and Haste just increases the speed of my rolling blades and my attacks so much faster. That I opted for that versus Grace. Herald of Thunder. I have this in here right now for mainly adding shock chance to my attack and or spells to get the increased damage from shocking them. The argument could be made for Herald of Ash since we are mostly physical, but I find the shock chance increases the damage more. Ancestral Protector, this guy is our totem buddy that gives us a ton of attack speed, but he is very strength hungry, so he's the reason why we need so much strength on this build. On our chest piece, we have Lacerate, Multi-Strike, Cast on Crit, Increase AOE, Glacial Cascade, and Blade Fall. And the shields right now, I have kind of a testing out a Val Reeve setup with Shock Nova and Cast on Crit for a quick burst of elemental damage. If I open a strong box, I can pop this real fast and does just a ton of AOE damage right around my character. And I also use it if I can see a Fizz Reflect mob, I'll try to pop this on him instead, just to make my life a little bit easier. Fizz Reflect is doable, but it can be a little sketchy on a tankier Fizz Reflect boss. Especially the ones that like die and they come back as a ghost version of themselves. It's just so much time you're spending killing it that that damage just gets reflected and starts to stack up. In our gloves, we have our Herald of Ice with Culling Strike and Ice Bite. This gains us our Frenzy charges. It says our Herald of Ice kills things via Culling Strike. The little explosions from Herald of Ice, it gives us a chance to gain Frenzy charges. And when you're mapping, this is like, it keeps your Frenzy charges up, no problem. Again, with bosses and like doing Etheria and stuff like that, it will definitely not really work against single targets and bosses, but it just helps to clear out maps faster. And then Summon Lightning Golem, which I use because I am pretty much crit capped without the use of an Ice Golem. I don't need the accuracy from an Ice Golem, and I really don't need the critical strike chance. So I really want that extra like 9% increased attack speed. I think it goes up to 10 at level 20. I forget what's on the wiki, but yeah, basically we want to be swinging as fast as we possibly can. Here, casting damage taken, Mortal Call, Warlord's Mark, increased duration. Pretty standard setup. I basically like the Warlord's Mark to cast when I take damage because it basically gives me that life and mana leech, mostly the life leech, from my damage when I need it. This also works with Reflect. So if you hit a Reflect mob, it'll cast Warlord's Mark onto that mob that you reflected the damage from and will help you sustain against it. Again, it is a little sketchy, but definitely doable if you are on it. Look at the passive tree real quick. We came out here at the starting, when we started out, went into the Fizz damage. Just went all Fizz damage and life as much as possible. Came over here, got all this. I did we get the jewel? I think we got the jewel socket pretty early, and then came down here, got acro, got life, and then I actually started out as a physical damage base Lacerate character, so I went into here and got a bunch of stuff and sword damage and all that crap. But if I was to do this character again, I would say, I hate to say it, because I'm tired of using the skill, but Blade Vortex would be a great, or Blade Fall would be a great leveling tool, and if that was the case, I would do this. I'd go down here and get this life maybe, just to travel in the early stages, and then I would say go up here and start getting this like spell damage and area damage and all this stuff. Obviously, going into attack speed, these far jewels and the crit strike chance as later on in the levels. Right now, as you can see, I'm working my way towards phase acro. That's what I'm going to get next. And then grab this life probably, and then at this point, I'll be at 90. What's that? 86, 87. Yeah, 90. And then after that, any levels beyond that are pretty ridiculous, and I'd probably just pick up more attack speed and crit multi here. So yeah, again, jewels are the most important thing in this build, because they just give us that extra life, since we don't have a ton of life on this side of the tree, and we don't want to spend the points coming down here. The argument could be made for Heart of Oak for that stun avoidance. I haven't really been found that the stun avoidance is absolutely necessary. You do notice you get stunned every once in a while, but I haven't found that I need it, that I would be willing to sacrifice other things for it. Sorry, Orclown, I'll be back in a little bit. But yeah. So the biggest thing is right here. Where are you at? There is a jewel that I bought. How are you? Okay, this jewel right here is the quintessential jewel. If you could get all of your jewels to be like this, it'd be amazing. It has attack speed. It has global critical strike chance, so it affects both Lacerate and the spells attached to it. Global critical strike multiplier and life. I mean, if you could get 6 of these, you'd be in to win. But this was not cheap and very hard to come by. So yeah, anyhow, so that's pretty much the build. Run through a quick gorge map and just kind of talk about the mechanics of the build. Yeah, so just a pretty basic gorge map, nothing special on it. The only things that this build obviously can't do is Fizz Reflect. Elemental Reflect is possible. It is a little sketchy at times, but it's definitely doable. As you're playing here, the biggest thing with this build, it's the only drawback that I feel that kind of sucks about it, is that the starting of a map is a little rough. Until you get like your first couple of power charges, that first pack enemies can be a little sketchy, so you just have to be kind of careful there with how you approach it. But once you start going, you just become unstoppable for it.
Catch my breath.
And it's just a ton of AOE. Like, as you can see, like, I mean, large packs of mobs just melt, and even single target, as you'll see when you get the boss, is just absolutely insane. You know, you can pop your Val haste as you're going along, get your extra boost of your speed. One of the other reasons why we like to build attack speed onto this build, and I favor that almost even more than like crit strike multi, is the fact that Lacerate is a multi-strike skill it has to finish its animation before you can move. So once you start swinging, it has to finish that animation before you can then like either walk or whirling blades around. So you're gonna want to get through that animation as quickly as possible. So you could find yourself, if you want to try dodging like Itsiri, flame blast and stuff like that, if you are not attacking fast enough, you won't be able to move out of the way in time and be as agile as you need. We are fairly tanky. This is still a software based build, and you still will die, and things do hit hard. Every once in a while, if it's above a cast on crit, I swear, like I'll be just mowing through things and I'll come across a pack and just swing the days when it doesn't cast, and I just think it's a bug. Sometimes it doesn't cast, but that's crit. Here's a Fizz Reflect. See, it hurts. but he's doable because that mob is not really tanky. You get into those bigger, like, high life mobs with BiS Reflect, it becomes a bit of an issue. You may have to step back, refill your life, wait for that moral call, cool down to reset, and then go back at it and finish it off. Or we can come in here and pop our Lacerate, a little bit of shotgun of goodness. Right now I'm not really showing off any special protector because for most of the part in mapping, like, you don't even need the guy. Try to keep your eyes falling up, your lightning going, all dead. Wait, I think it's the boss. Is the boss there? Nope, not yet. The boss. Okay, so here's the boss. So we drop our ancestral protector totem, and we just start attacking and just do that flash. We pop out haste, and we just keep on attacking and critting and attacking. And this is where I feel like this build shines so much over over Ground Fan, is I just did not stop critting. Because I'm just like whack, 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 just a daze. It's absolutely fantastic. But yeah, so just dropping this guy and then staying within his radius when you're fighting bosses, or if you're coming across the beginning, like the first map pack, or pack of monsters in a map, I'll drop that guy just to get that initial burst of attack speed. But yeah, so anyhow, that's kind of the basics of the build. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's still a work in progress. There's probably tons of room for improvement. I'm only level 85. So at this point, damage-wise, it's just leveling up my skill gems. I mean, my stuff's only level 19. None of it's 20 quality except for Lacerate. But yeah, the skill just gets insane amounts of AOE. Anyhow, so hope you guys enjoyed the build. Yeah, take care.